Hello everyone, my name is Aaron, also known as Pirato. Today I will show you guys the basics of rendering characters in Cinema 4D. This includes lighting, poses, and textures. Now let's get into this. Today I will be using my own Roblox avatar for this tutorial. I have already rigged up my character to save time. I will be assuming you already know how to rig your character. I always like doing my settings first, so that's what we will be doing first. Open up your render settings and set the renderer to physical. Then click on effects and select global illumination and ambient occlusion. You can change the sampling rate in the physical tab to get more realistic looking renders. But I would not recommend this at the start as it can make renders take way longer. Now let's do the texturing of our character. Go ahead and open up the material. First we will do the bump and normal maps. These will help give your characters a more realistic look. If doing a more cartoony scene, this is not needed as much. For bump maps, copy the texture in the color tab. Paste it in the bump texture, then click the arrow, go to effects and add a filter. Now set the saturation to 0. For normal maps, go into the normal tab and paste the texture of the character. Click the arrow, then click normalizer. Now we will do a quick test render to see the effects of the bump and normal. We will use a physical sky to quickly simulate the realistic light. Next is the reflection maps. This can either make or break your render and can be confusing at times. In the reflection tab, add a GGX and set from average to additive. Then push down the reflection strength and bump strength, then add roughness. Then also push down the global brightness and specular. You can make these higher than where I put it. The higher it is, the more glossy the character will look. It's your own preference. Now let's do another test render to see if it looks any better. It looks great so far. But now to add emotion to the scene. Let's pose the character. First we will get our camera into position. I chose this angle just because I felt like it. You can choose whatever you want. When you have chosen an angle, make sure to add a protection tag to the camera so you don't accidentally move it. In camera options, you can scroll down to focus object and click the pointer, then select the head of the character. This is helpful when doing full scenes with a background to give depth of field. When doing renders like this it isn't necessary, but we will because why not? Now for actual posing. I will speed up this part to save time. I recommend using a reference image to make sure it looks the way you want it to. I went with a cartoonish style walk. Here we have a finished pose. Now on to lighting. One of the most important parts of renders. Add a regular omni light. This is the default one, so just click. In light settings, set the shadow to area and the visible light to volumetric. This will be the fill light. Go ahead and set the light to the side or front of the character. I like to go in a diagonal fashion, then rotating the light so it faces the character. Copy the light and set it opposite of the other light. To fill in the darks of the render, make sure to make this light's brightness lower. You can also lower the brightness of the original light. Now for the rim lights. Copy either of the lights and set it behind but slightly off to the side of the character. Make sure to pump the brightness up with steroids on this light. For the brightness of this light I chose 150%. Set the light to an area where you can see the light just slightly go over the rim over the character as shown. That is basically it for the lights, so let's do another test render. I think this looks really good so far. But that will be it for the basics. In the next part we will discuss the HDR aspect and final touches in the rendering process. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. It would also be great to follow me on Twitter at 4RR0NN for more help and to see my other work. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the next part.